LGBTQ plus people for civil rights. In particular, I want to acknowledge Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, the trans women activists who were at the helm of the original protest movement in June of 1969 that turned into the Pride celebrations we know today. If you do anything this Pride Month to support your queer friends and neighbors, I encourage you to learn this history and how to advocate for action that will retain the civil rights of the LGBTQ community that they have fought so hard to win. Our LGBTQ Kenosha County residents deserve to feel safe and protected in their community, and I hope that we all continue to fight to that end. I also want to take this opportunity to share some community resources and events we have coming up in honor of Pride Month. The LGBTQ Center of Southeast Wisconsin provides ally trainings as well as educational and community events. There's also a program run by Grace Lutheran called the Open Hearts Ministry, where volunteers are paired with LGBTQ youth to accompany them to major life events like graduations and recitals in instances where they have been disowned by their family or their families don't support them, which is unfortunately a fairly common occurrence, and you don't have to be a member of the church to be involved in that in any way. Finally, last but not least, even though Pride is in June, you haven't missed anything in Kenosha because Kenosha Pride is Saturday, July 6th in the beautiful Harbor Park celebration place. So that is my Pride aside for my June update. As for county board news updates, at the June 4th meeting, the board voted on Supervisor Gentz's resolution to appeal the at-will firing policy of division heads by the county executive. After some substantial discussion on the floor, the board voted 13-9 in favor of repealing the policy. You can hear some of my thoughts about this policy in last month's newsletter, but I was one of the 13 who voted in favor. Unfortunately, for those of us in the majority, we received word 2 days later that Executive Kirkman vetoed the resolution. Then at the subsequent June 18th meeting, we voted to override the veto, even though we were fairly certain we did not have the numbers to do so because this requires a 2/3 vote. The final vote was 12 in favor of the override and 10 opposed, so the veto stands. Although there was limited likelihood of an override, putting the motion to the floor gave supervisors the opportunity to speak on what this veto seems to represent to them. And many insightful viewpoints were shared to this end people were speaking on both sides in support and opposition. If you're interested in the county board meeting recording, I always include these, but I also have a link starting at 12:15. This particular discussion starts, and there's a lot of viewpoints that are brought up that it was a good discussion, I think. In particular, Supervisor Grady speaks to the purpose of having an executive, legislative, and judicial branch of government, which was a good civics class review, and sort of what that means in terms of county government. And Supervisor Sarah Kirby points out that many of the supervisors who voted in favor of the at-will firing policy in 2022 were actually unseated in the last election. This opposes Executive Kirkman's statement that the retention of the policy is the will of the people. So sort of different perspectives on that one. There were several other resolutions passed at the June 18th meeting, mostly zoning ordinances and the like, and I will spare you, but they're on the agenda and in the recording. One exciting program on the horizon is a bike share program through Tandem Mobility that will set up stations in Petrifying Springs and Kemper Center, as well as several other non-county properties. In my experiences, these programs are very beneficial to the community for both recreation and, in some cases, if it's widespread enough, transportation. And I hope it gets implemented well here in Kenosha. I hope to see you all out and about. I've been loving all the outdoor music festivals and the harbor market and getting to meet so many of you. Please don't be a stranger. Summer is my off-work season, and I look forward to connecting with you all before my teaching gets back into gear. Have a great month, and I will talk to you in July.